Jesus, I want to belong to you too. I want to be Erntehelfer, a helper for your harvest. I want to be your harvest reaping helper.
This is Rock That Doesn't Roll, the story of Christian music. I'm Andrew Gill, a music journalist who grew up listening to Christian rock.
And I'm Leah Payne, author of God Gave Rock and Roll to You, A History of Contemporary Christian Music.
And I have a question for you, Leah. Have you ever seen those YouTube videos? It's this type where a vocal coach will react to an iconic performance. Oh,
absolutely. Yes. I follow this one woman who does that regularly, where she'll analyze the runs that someone does or some sort of, some stylistic quirk and tell us all regular people why it's great.
Yes, it's always got to be like someone who's a little obscure, but still kind of singular and iconic.
Yep.
And that is our guest today to a T, Nina Hagen. And I've seen a few of these videos recently with Nina.
Today, we are listening to the singer Nina Hagen.
This week, we are checking out Nina Hagen.
Today, I'm going to react to Nina Hagen.
Nina Hagen.
Nina Hagen, Nature Train, Rock Palast.
Nina Hagen is a German punk opera wild card who can whisper 1 second and launch into a high C the next second.
These videos are of this one performance from 1979, and she's wearing this crazy pancake makeup. Her earrings appear to be pacifiers.
Love it.
Her singing sounds like no one you've ever heard before.
Wow, straight away. Wow, she is not afraid to shape her vocal track.
Yeah, it's interesting watching how speechless they are. They're sort of grasping for words to describe what they're experiencing.
Yes.
Oh my God! I was not expecting that. But not only just her voice, but her whole vibe.
Oh my God! What? Do you like it?
Oh my God, yes.
Her voice is beautiful at the same time, but I'm just confused because what is really going on? What's really going on?
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to put into words everything that is just so cool to me about this.
They seem completely blown away by Nina's performance.
It is weird. I mean, like Nina's delivery as well is, I think you said something about this and I totally agree. It's Bjork-esque in the way that it's just so off the wall.
Yes.
But somehow it makes a certain kind of sense. It's confusing, I think.
There's a high degree of skill, but a low degree of conformity.
Yes, low degree of conformity. It's also, I would say, because, big fans of Rock That Doesn't Roll know that I'm a huge musical theater person. It's very theatrical.
Yes.
It's very avant-garde. It's, I don't know, punk in the fundamental sense of the word.
Yeah, for sure. So if our listeners are familiar with Nina Hagen, it's probably because they came across some of these videos that it came out in the past year or two. But if you were paying attention in the 1980s, she popped up in the press sometimes in places like Late Night with David Letterman.
I said you had pink hair, and you had the pink hair here on the album. Obviously, you're not wearing pink hair tonight.
No, I just come from Greece and from Spain, and I wanted to look more Greek and more Spanish because we just shot a video down there for Spirit in the Sky, the old hippie Norman Greenbaum hit from the 60s.
So you changed your hair for that purpose?
Now, I always
do you mind if I touch this? The hair part?
It's
this is not yours, is it?
No.
And she would usually just seem kind of like an alien who is not doing a very good job at blending in with the humans. It's like she forgot to incorporate limitations when she took on human form.
But it wasn't just her performance style and look that baffled audiences. Throughout her career, Nina has had a habit of talking about Jesus and really seemed to break the brains of some of her interviewers.
So we're back with Nina. Now, we started talking about religion before. I don't know if you really want to talk about that.
when you want to talk about religion, you should talk about religion. When you think you have to say something about religion, you should always say something about religion.
When we interviewed Nina recently, she had the same free spirit and openness that you see in these videos.
Yeah, and it was a great conversation. When we were done talking with her, it was clear that she is more directly connected to the Christian music industry today than at any other point in her career, like a direct connection, an active participant in it. I mean, we only booked this interview because she's a huge Larry Norman fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the name of your podcast, which is a song of Larry Norman.
Shout out to Larry Norman's son, Mike Norman.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
But even though she was formally baptized in 2009, most of her career was before that point.
Right.
I think she's been a Christian artist for her entire career. So today on the show, we're going to attempt to make the case for Nina Hagen being one of the most integrated, authentic, and liberated Christian popular music artists of all time.
It's going to be a wild ride involving UFOs, the Sex Pistols, LSD, Giorgio Moroder, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Wish us luck.
This show is supported by Blue Land. We hear a lot about microplastics in oceans and food, but they can also come from products we use every day at home, including cleaning products. Blue Land is on a mission to make it easy for everyone to make sustainable choices. Blue Land believes that hardworking, clean products can be the norm, not the exception, so that you can do better for your family and the planet at the same time. From cleaning sprays and toilet bowl cleaner to dishwasher and laundry detergent tablets, Blue Land's products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands, and the formulas are free from dyes, parabens, and harsh chemicals. You'll love not having to choose between the safe option and what actually gets your house clean. Blue Land is a certified B Corp and Leaping Bunny cruelty-free certified. Their formulas are EPA's Safer Choice certified, and many products have also earned Cradle to Cradle's Gold Material Health Certificate. If you're looking to make a small change in your routine, you can get 15% off your first order at blueland.com/prx. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/prx. blueland.com/prx. This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Okay, first things first, Nina Hagen really loves Jesus.
Yeah, it was the main thing she talked about in our interview.
The song of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, everybody gonna have a wonderful time up there. There is a line and she's singing, everybody gonna have religion and glory. And I changed that and I made redemption and glory. Because the word redemption is so much more describes who our beloved Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is what he's all about than the word religion, because he came onto this planet, in my opinion, to demystify religion, because in the name of religion, so many human-made, mistaken things happened, so that I can't be a friend of the word religion any longer, and I changed it into redemption.
But as a child born to an actress and an atheist Holocaust survivor in East Berlin, Nina's lifelong relationship with Jesus wasn't guaranteed. Not only was her faith not guaranteed, but being born at all wasn't a sure thing. She told us her mother was pushed to get an abortion.
I was born in 1955 by a mother who was told she should have an abortion with me. But she said, no way. The pastor in her childhood told her that every life, every child has a special call from God. Everybody is a unique, desperately wanted member of God's family. So my mom was showing everybody the long nose and said, "No way, nothing, and nobody can take away the fruit in my belly." And so I was born to an atheist father who survived the Holocaust. He was Jewish, and he was an author and a scriptwriter, and he was one of the most wonderful daddies in the world. And my mom was a young actress, and she went to West Berlin before the wall was built up, and she brought home many vinyl albums, including Mahalia Jackson singing the gospel, including Porgy and Bess with Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong and more. And so I came across gospel music from the very early childhood, and I was so amazed at the Inbrunst, I don't know the word in English, amazing singers sang those love songs to God. And so then I discovered Mahalia Jackson on our color TV. I think my parents, because they were artists, they made quite a good amount of money. So we were one of the first families with a color TV. And there I discovered Mahalia Jackson in action one fine day in this colored American movie called The Imitation of Life, where Mahalia sang her Trouble of the World in this movie.
My trouble of this world, oh, my trouble in this world, Lord, my trouble in this world, Lord, how sooner will be done.
Nina's real non-imitation life revolved around her mother's acting jobs. She told us about how her mother's role in My Fair Lady led to discovering her own multi-octave voice.
I was part of many, many evenings where she got ready in their dressing room and makeup and wig, and all the singers around her in the other dressing rooms, they were oiling their voices. They were singing to make the voice more warm. And those were opera singers, were people from the chorus line and stuff. So I heard how they were singing, and I asked them, "How do you do that?" They showed me, and they said, "Well, it's like a toilet flush. You have to produce the la, and then you flush down and ro, and then you come up with the vibrato." And so it made sense, and I did it. And suddenly I found myself being an alto, fantastic opera voice came out of me.
This was around the ages of 9 and 10. She was getting master classes in vocal technique in her mother's dressing room. But on Sunday mornings, she was learning about what would turn out to be another big influence on her life by exploring her neighborhood with a friend. They found a place that also recalled that Mahalia Jackson movie, but in real life.
When I was a little child, at the corner of my street, there was a new apostolic church, and
really,
yes, and many Westerners came to visit every Sunday over the border, and for the worship, the Sunday worship service. And me and my little girlfriend from downstairs, we went there because it was so full of well-dressed people, beautifully dressed people. They were all dressed like as if they go into an opera. They also had some chocolate from West Berlin or some really good tasting candies. We were so excited to be part of that. And my father was, of course, looking for me. I was missing because I was in this church. My parents slept long on Sunday mornings. So I explained to him when I came out, and he finally found me without calling the police, and where he was so happy to receive me back in his arms. So I said to him, "Hey, Daddy, don't worry. There is a clown in there, and he's climbing up a balcony, and he's making funny movements and funny faces, and he's telling funny stories, and everybody is like happy, and they even have chocolate and candies. So this was my first coming together with Christians, and of course for me this was fabulous. It was like heaven on earth, with a funny man climbing on a balcony and proclaiming the word of God, which is also sweet because everything tasted so sweet, and the people were sweet, and the vibrations were fantastic, and it was something in this world but not of this world. I loved it. Yeah.
That sounds just fitting, because your mother worked with Bertolt Brecht, who was one of these guys who broke the fourth wall in theater, right? He was so going to a church and having a clown climb the balcony would have seemed, okay, this fits with like mom's plays that she's been doing. Right.
And when I was just a little older, but I was still in my early teenage years, I was from the age of 11 until 10 years later when I left East Germany, I was a regular visitor of the Bertolt Brecht Theater in East Berlin. And I was watching all his theater pieces, all the Kurt Weill, Bertolt Brecht co-written songs and theater plays. And this was basically my artistic entertainment school.
For those who don't know, Bertolt Brecht was a transformational figure in theater. He died when Nina was just a year old, but his legacy in East Berlin had a huge influence on her. He developed the idea of epic theater, which didn't try to please the audience, but make them feel so uncomfortable that they would hopefully change society.
While Nina is very confident in Brecht's deep down love of Jesus, but not organized religion, this is a point scholars debate all the time. His first play, completed at the age of 15, was called The Bible, and there are Christian themes and imagery in many of his plays. But there's a lot of critique of religion in his work.
This is where I discovered the cabaret, political cabaret with twist to criticize religion, but in a way that Bertolt Brecht was holding the word of God, holding the biblical truths of Christian values. He was holding up high, sky high, but the religion as it is practiced by religious institutions like, I don't want to drop names here. So they got criticized in a cabaretistic way.
Brecht was closely associated with Marxism. That's why he had returned to East Berlin after World War II. The Hollywood Red Scare essentially chased him out of America. Many would assume a deep involvement with Marxism means he was also an atheist. But if you ask Nina, that is not the case. In fact, she credits his theatrical works with her interest in following Jesus from a young age.
This is when I started to really grab a Bible and start reading in a Bible. So I have to thank to Bertolt Brecht and his work and my excitement for this. And so I became a Bible student at a very young age. I wanted to have a relationship, a fellowship with Jesus Christ. And so at the age of 12, I remember myself all alone in my room with my Bible, talking to Jesus and saying, Jesus, I want to belong to you too. I want to be Erntehelfer. Erntehelfer in English is like the helpers, the assistants to reap the harvest. Exactly. So I said, I want to be a helper for your harvest. I want to be your harvest reaping helper. And and so I became a follower of Christ in a very early age.
So Nina remembers dedicating her life to Christ all on her own, under the influence of Mahalia Jackson, Bertolt Brecht, the New Apostolic Church, and her Bible.
Nina told us that after that experience, she still had a difficult adolescence, but one of her most memorable experiences of God was yet to come.
During a time when I was a quite disturbed and depressed young woman, I had a couple of abortions and one miscarriage behind me and a broken heart. And I was a candidate for suicide during that time. And then that amazing experience where I was baptized by Christ during a near-death experience. Sounds out of this world, but what is not out of this world when you are visiting this planet for a while? It's a couple of experiences are out of this world, and so it was with me the same. And I was baptized in the Holy Spirit in the middle of an acid trip, and I spoke and wrote and witnessed about it since that time.
She was 17 when this happened in 1972. For context, this was only a few years after Lonnie Frisbee had a similar experience with God while using LSD in California.
And the first songs that I then started writing, they all had to do, not all, but many of those songs had to do with leading my audience slowly but steady from one album to the next, proclaiming my love, my relationship, my fellowship with Jesus Christ. For example, 1978, I was already in West Berlin. There is a song called On the Cemetery, auf dem Friedhof, and there are vampires doing nasty things. It's horrible, and I get scared, and I'm calling Jesus, and I in the lyrics, and I say, Jesus, I need your help. Here's Nina. I don't want to die. Jesus, here's Nina. And so the devil comes in the lyrics. It says, the devil comes and he is whispering in our ears and he is proclaiming that God is dead. The Lord is gone. God is dead. The Lord is gone. That's what the devil is proclaiming. And then many people said to me the last couple of years or centuries, but Nina Hagen, you wrote God is dead. But I said, please read the lyrics. The devil comes and he's whispering in our ears, God is dead, the Lord is for it. It's not Nina Hagen saying that, it's the devil. So I started to grab my audience from the start, so to speak. It has a beautiful continuation. Me proclaiming Zugehörigkeit zu Jesus Christus, that I belong to Jesus, that I'm a property of Jesus, as Sinead O'Connor once upon a time so beautifully proclaimed. But then she changed her mind.
Sinead O'Connor had her own journey. Lonnie Frisbee had his own path too. After receiving his revelation on LSD, he went on to co-found Calvary Chapel and shape Jesus music in a big way. Nina's journey would lead her into the heart of the punk explosion. And eventually, she would help define punk rock in Europe.
Rock that doesn't roll.
Rock That Doesn't Roll is supported by Larry'sCoffee.com, a roaster from Raleigh, North Carolina. Very high quality coffee beans.
Oh, wow. Just this morning, I brewed myself a little pot of Ethiopia Sidama. Their Sidama Pharaoh, I think is how you say it. Their light roast. It takes a lot to get someone who is from the Pacific Northwest to enthusiastically endorse coffee from outside this region because, we're coffee divas out here. But I love this coffee. It's so good. It was really light. And I used to be a barista. I don't know if I've mentioned that.
That's established lore at this point, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I am in retirement, but those skills just never go away. So I love this coffee.
Yeah, I tried the Bean Martin in a French press, and I was very happy with how that tasted. But, the more I looked into, we were approached by Larry's Coffee, and I was like, well, I got to check this out and see if there's any reason not to do this. They are a certified B Corp. Their coffee is all certified organic and fair trade. in their shop in North Carolina, they use rainwater to flush the toilets. I mean, like, I can't find any reason to not like Larry's Coffee. So if you want to support the show, you can go to larryscoffee.com/RTDR. And if you buy from them, they support us. We hope that you'll check it out. They've been there since 1996. That's the perfect year to have established a coffee company, right? 1996.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. It doesn't get better
Perfect
than that.
vintage. So larryscoffee.com/RTDR. Check it out.
Brecht was a hugely important influence on Nina's life. His work even shows up in her dreams today.
Oh, by the way, I had a dream with Donald Trump the other night, and he was singing a very famous song of that Threepenny Opera. It's a song about a criminal who never gets caught. Just wanted to share this with you.
Wow.
The current president of the United States of America. It was my dream, and he sang that song.
Tell me, could it be, Mac good night?
Make the Knife, it is called in English, and in German it's called Die Moritat from Mackie Messer, about this criminal who never gets caught. And then I woke up and I thought, okay, I'm going to share this with everybody. Why not? I mean, hello, if the current president of the United States dares to visit me in my dream singing a Bertolt Brecht song about the criminal who never gets caught, then why not tell the world about it?
Nina has an earned distaste for authoritarian governments. As a child, she accompanied her father to the concentration camp where her grandparents were both killed.
Me and my father, and I was 7 or 8 years old, we were walking down through the fog in the Memorium concentration camp, Sachsenhausen, where my grandfather Hermann Hagen was murdered during the Holocaust. And my daddy, Hans Hagen, and me, we were asked by the East German evening news people, they filmed us, they asked us to walk down and visit this memorial. And we had flowers, and we laid down flowers, and I wrote something in the guest book. I'm a little anti-fascist from my childhood, because my father was a victim of torture during the Nazi, the Hitler fascism, and he was a survivor of the Holocaust. And so you can see where my political strength and how I became who I am.
She also still remembers the heavy-handed surveillance practiced in East Berlin.
We had like blue scarves around our necks. We had to make a hand movement above our head, and we had to scream when the teacher was screaming, "Be ready!" We had to say, "Always ready," and put the hand over the head, like the Hitler youth, you know.
Yeah,
but this time just a socialistic youth. So this was normal for me. In school, the teacher was using mean tricks to find out who was watching West television last night. And she asked the children, so when you see at 7 o'clock in the evening, when Sandman is coming, what clock do you see? Do you see the clock with the dots? Or do you see the clock with the lines? And then this one poor little girl said,
well, we always see the clock with the lines, my mom.
So they knew we watching the West Sandman.
Which is why it's not surprising that her first hit single was a subtle dig at life behind the Iron Curtain.
We had to always pretend we were like strong socialists, which we weren't really.
Well, and then your big hit with Automobile in 1974, it translates to You Forgot the Color Film. Yeah. I won't attempt the German version, but it became a massive hit. That must have taken a lot of bravery or did it take bravery to have a song that was that subversively criticizing the government and that
well,
sort of,
we all did that in a way, but this was we were making a piss take, so to speak. Normal Schlager music, and make a funny lyrical situation, telling a story of a girl who was upset that her lover was not photographing her in color, but only in black and white. And so she was, singing the whole song that she's not amused by this treatment.
Is like a symbol of the drabness of life in East Germany, right?
Yeah, genau. And
yeah.
little words and picturesque descriptions make it even more mystical to see that the story might be double folded, and people were looking for a deeper meaning when we were talking about feeling like a rabbit in the hole and stuff like that.
By some estimates, 40% of East Germans knew the lyrics of this song. Angela Merkel had it played when she left office in 2021.
Which makes it unsurprising that the powers that be in East Berlin allowed Nina to leave East Germany just a couple years later.
I came out of East Germany and I signed with a big record label in Frankfurt in West Germany. And they told me, Nina, go around and look at as many concerts as you can find and find your way, find your what kind of music you wanna make in the future. So they were very kind and very smart to give me this freedom.
Which leads us to a pivotal moment when Nina ends up in London, right as punk rock is starting to upset everything.
The rock that doesn't roll. Doesn't roll.
I was called by my friend Juliana Grigorova, who was a film student at the London Film School. I knew her from East Germany. I went there because I was supposed to play the main part, the leading role in her movie, The Go Blue Girl. And there I met her colleague, the film student Julian Temple, who made a film about the Sex Pistols. And so I met the girlfriend of Johnny Rotten and her daughter, Ariane, called Ari Up. And Ari Up was the singer of the Slits. Yeah, and it was a punk revolution. There, when the Slits and me walked down the street, everybody was looking at them, of course. And Ari Up, for me, was the most beautiful, the most special sister, girlfriend ever. I mean, nothing and nobody could ever top this. And she was so special and so talented. And we even wrote songs together. I felt like I'm a nanny because I accompanied the Slits and Ari Up to their concerts or to the rehearsals. And I felt like being the Mary Poppins for Ari Up because Ari was so young. She was between 14 and 15. And so I knew what that means of sexual predators. And yeah, so I tried to protect her from that and as good as I could. And we became really the bestest friends. And then I saw all the punk bands during that time. And I was happy for them because it was so refreshing and joyful to see all these happy young people doing their own thing. They invented something they could call their own. And then quite quickly, it was taken over by the industrializing punk music and punk culture. But this is in capitalist society. This is the way it goes. But the first unpretentious, authentic bands and musicians and people was just amazing to witness. It was very inspiring. And they had fun listening to my stories when I told them about Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill, and I was singing to them some Brecht hits. And they were like looking at me like as if I come from another star system because I had an opera voice And I told them about Jesus on my first LSD trip, how I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. And so I was the Jesus freaks of the punk nannies.
Oh, amazing. So
That's so
even
fascinating.
then it was with you. It was
Yeah.
You've been hanging out with the slits. Yeah.
Everybody who wanted or not wanted to hear it, I told them my experience with Jesus and told everybody Jesus really exists and he might be the original punk ever and ever after.
I mean, hearing your ability to sing and perform in the punk era, no one else seems to have the control and the confidence as a performer that you have from that punk world. You know, a lot of the punk world, the ethos was anybody.
But my punk world started in East Berlin, seeing and witnessing, watching, and taking it all in. The Brecht Weil musicals, because each and every theater play by Brecht Weil is a little musical. Happy End, Mahagony, the Threepenny Opera, Schweik in the Second World War, Mother Courage, Der aufhaltsame Aufstieg des Arthur Rouy, the days of the Parisienne Commune, the days of the Commune, and you name it. There is so many, much more. All little punk Weimarer Republik cabaret pieces. So I think Brecht was the original pre-punk.
Yeah. And you are the connective tissue between all of it. Yeah.
It's amazing to imagine Nina having these conversations in the epicenter of the punk explosion in the late 1970s, the same time when so much was happening in other corners of the Christian music world. Bob Dylan was just about to enter his evangelical era. Big stars like Keith Green were starting to launch what would eventually become known as contemporary Christian music. Sparrow Records was getting started. There was a lot going on in that era.
Larry Norman was well into his career, collaborating with British stars like Cliff Richard and Dudley Moore, and running his solid rock record label in LA. After her time in London, the Nina Hagen Band released their first German-language album in 1978 and officially brought punk rock to Deutschland. Soon after that, however, Nina found herself spending a lot of time in LA. I thought maybe she'd met Larry Norman there somehow.
I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about how Larry Norman's music entered your world.
Very late in my life, actually. I was so upset that, I mean, for a little moment, that Larry's music came so late in my life. My first gospel album was released 15 years ago. And it was called Personal Jesus, and mostly it was filled with very traditional Southern gospel songs and so forth. And then ever after I discovered Rosetta Tharpe and Larry Norman. They came after this first gospel album. And yes, Larry Norman, I was so happy that I discovered him. I couldn't get enough of it. And I started to translate his songs into German language. And I made a whole German gospel and folk album called Folksbeat, and with my German translations from American songs. Like Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music from Larry, I put it into German. Sweet, Sweet Song of Salvation, by me, it's called Süßes Lied der Errettung. And Bob Dylan, Another Cup of Coffee, noch ein Tässchen Kaffee. And much more.
It's so interesting that you didn't find his music until later, because you and him had such kind of parallel experience. Like, obviously, yours is singular. He did not live in East Germany or anything like that. But as far as your music being sort of confounding people, your music sort of like was too free for people to fully grasp in some ways, you know?
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. I have later on recorded 2 more songs of Larry in English original, and now then finally I got together with Larry Norman's brother Charles Norman.
Yes, we had him on the show. Yes.
Yeah, fabulous. And Charles is a genius when it comes down to producing music and being a musician, and I'm so happy and so excited that he's the producer of my upcoming album. I hope it will come out this Christmas, and my newest album, Highway to Heaven, my newest gospel album, has just been out a couple of weeks, or maybe 2 weeks. And it's very fresh, but I can already announce my excitement for my upcoming album, which is the working title is Paradise Lane. Because
Highway to Heaven to Paradise Lane.
Yeah, I lived with my children. We lived on Paradise Lane in Topanga Canyons once upon a time. And I just wrote a song with all sorts of names of roads and mountains and hills and valleys, which the word paradise in front of it. Yeah, I'm so happy that I got to know and be part of the wonderful sister brotherhood of the Norman family, the Larry Norman, Larry Charles Michael Norman family.
Yeah.
And expect great things, please.
Well, boy, you may have passed Larry on the sidewalk in LA at some point.
Oh my God, yes. And Charles told me that they have been at an open air concert in the 80s, seeing me there. And I was so upset for a moment that they didn't come backstage, or that they didn't make some noise so I could meet Larry Norman. And I never met him. But
it's amazing. You even had, he had a song about unidentified flying objects.
Yes, I covered it.
That's right.
But Greenland Records, yes.
Yeah.
It's an unidentified flying object.
He's an unidentified flying object that some will sleep but will not die.
And by the way, when I came after a long tour, pregnant in the 3rd month with my child, Cosma, we came back to Los Angeles. We rented a house for a holiday, well-deserved holiday after a long, exhausting tour. And one night I saw a UFO, and I woke up from deep sleep. Normally, what does a pregnant woman do when she wakes up in the night? She goes to the toilet, have a pee, but not me. I went to the window, I opened up the curtain, and there it was a heavenly spaceship hovering in the air, and I was freeze framed, but in a happy way, not at all as only good vibrations. I can't even describe how good the vibrations were. And the lights beaming out from it, it was the rainbow spectrum, one color after the other, as if, the yellow said hello and stayed for a moment or 2 or 3. And I was like, wow. So beautiful. And it was like a person. The yellow was like a person. Then the pink was like another person. It was like an archangelic presence. I was thinking, who are these? They are alive. They are each different color. It was just beautiful, so amazing. And then after a while, the last light I saw went into the white light. All the colors from the rainbow spectrum passed through. In the end, the white light came, and I was still freeze framed. Looked at it, but my mouth was most likely open, wide open, and I was looking at this hovering spaceship. And then I saw the light went out, and I saw 3 people like in a recording studio or in a spaceship, doing some things. They didn't even look at me. And then I remember the next thing is I wake up in the morning, the curtains are still open. I do not remember how I went back to bed, back to sleep, a piece of time missing. And I knew this was too good to be true, but it was not a dream. I knew it was not a dream. And I knew this was of heavenly origin and not of what many stories in the good old USA are cruising around about, like alien abduction or negative UFO encounters. My encounter on that day on Malibu Beach, we rented a house on Malibu Beach in the Malibu colony. That was only good, so good. And therefore, it was a pleasure for me to sing Larry's song, because maybe, just maybe, who knows? God knows for sure. God knows. Maybe that was a sign from our beloved Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to show me, hey, Nienchen, we exist. We have those beautiful colors from us, from the Elohim, who made you in our image.
And if there's life on other planets, then I'm sure that he must know. And he's been there once already, and has died to save their soul.
Another Christian singer coming up in the late 1970s was Amy Grant. Nina may be as different from Amy Grant as two artists can be, especially with how they were treated as women. Early on in her career, Amy got an earful from Christian bookstore owners about having too many buttons open on her modest album cover photo. 2 would have been okay, but 3 was apparently over the line. Meanwhile, Nina was not constrained by any traditional sexual mores and probably seemed off limits to fans of traditional contemporary Christian music.
She had a song in 1980 called Proud to be Gay.
Proud to be gay, little boy.
There was a famous incident where Nina got a little bit too explicit about female pleasure on a German talk show, and the host got fired. And there were many performances on European television where the issue with Nina's top isn't exactly the number of buttons open, it's that there aren't buttons at all. And yet, in so many of these performances, Nina inserts references to God. Like this moment in a French TV appearance where she goes from a cover of Foxy Lady to the Lord's Prayer, all while wearing a mesh top.
Hello, be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, and heaven, and heaven.
There are so many examples of Nina bringing God into places where people are not expecting her to. Like in 1985, when she covered Spirit in the Sky at the Rock in Rio concert. She carried a cross around the stage above her head, and it seems like people just don't know quite what to make of it. Nina does have some regrets about her arms wide open approach to life.
I called my daughter Cosma Shiva because I had a stupid little book there and it was talking about Krishna and Shiva. And so I brought things totally went berserk in my head, and I dared to call my child Cosma Shiva. I should have called her Cosma Maria or Cosma Matilda or whatnot, but it was Shiva. And then I came across a guru in India who claimed that he had no father and no mother, and that he made himself a body because he is to be worshipped like God because he's from God, just like Jesus. And we have to bow down and follow his instructions. And so I checked it out. I said, okay, Jesus, I go there. I check it out. I'm your 007. I will check it out. I will tell them that I already have a master. I must not bow down to the guru, thingy-pingy. But of course, I did also bow down to him. A couple of years later, I distanced myself from those lying false gods, false pretenders. And it was, of course, not the case, because this false guru, he claimed that he's working on the liberation of mankind together hand in hand with Jesus Christ. And for a while, I wanted to believe that. But I found out, no. Jesus would never punish his people. Jesus would never make people work all day and bow down in front of him all the time. And when I started grabbing my Bible and looking into it, I got a shock, because, oh my God, I started doing all the things wrong that you can do wrong, which the Bible is warning us against, not to fall for those false messiahs. But maybe, maybe I had to do this, because in my autobiography, Confessions, which soon will be finally translated for the first time into English language and published in America as well, hopefully, you will read all about it, and then in a better way than my broken English.
She also told us that she regrets smoking so many cigarettes and not caring for her voice better. She's no longer able to sing in so many octaves.
I have sang so many concerts, shows, one after the other. The voice changes. I was also a heavy smoker in my past. I laid it all down on the cross. I am so sorry that I did this to my body. Yeah, but I have been forgiven by God, and I'm free at last.
But after a career that included albums produced by Giorgio Moroder, working with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and fashion designers like Jean-Paul Gaultier and Vivienne Westwood, today Nina is reaching further back for inspiration. And she can't keep from singing with the voice that she still has.
Good old gospel music, and it's a treasure which is never ending. I keep finding gospel songs that I thought I should have known before, but I didn't. And they just pop out into the open and make themselves known to me. It's amazing. For example, I heard the angels singing Lightning Hopkins, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, just 10 minutes before the doors were closing on my newest album, Highway to Heaven. And the title of the album was already standing there, Highway to Heaven. But I didn't have a song with that title. And I was Googling, and I looked up the name Rosetta Tharpe, Highway to Heaven, and plop came Rosetta Tharpe, There's a Highway to Heaven. I couldn't believe my luck. And there it was.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Brighter. My load gets lighter. I'm walking up the King's Highway. My joy is multiplying. I don't know the lyrics by head, and I don't have the page open. But there's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there but the pure in heart. There's a highway to heaven. I'm walking up the King's Highway. Oh, yeah.
Love it. Nina, I have to say, I loved that on Personal Jesus, you have all these gospel songs, and right there near the end, you also have All These Fascists Bound to Lose.
Yes.
I love the combination.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Right?
Yes. Because we have to remember who God is. God is love and light and goodness, and not one grade of darkness, nothing. Only love, so we know what to do, what there is to do, to love the world to peace. Love the world to peace, not to pieces, but to peace. Love the world to peace.
fascists, you might be surprised. People in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose.
Whether you're a fan of Nina Hagen's or not, there's no denying that a sincere love of Jesus and people has always been underlying a lot of her music.
There you have it, folks. Nina Hagen, one of one.
And that's it for this episode of Rock That Doesn't Roll. Thanks to Nina for joining us. Thanks to Mike Norman for helping to set it up. Thank you for listening, and a huge thanks to our Patreon supporters for making the show possible. You can become one yourself at patreon.com/RTDR.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. In the meantime, you can find us on Substack and Instagram by searching Rock That Doesn't Roll and at our new website, rtdrpod.com.
Of course, you should give us a rating and review on whatever podcast app you're using to listen right now. And consider supporting the show by ordering coffee from larryscoffee.com/RTDR.
Season 4 of Rock That Doesn't Roll is distributed through the Public Radio Exchange with funding from our Patreon community. It's produced by the one and only Andrew Gill.
Our original score is by Jim Cooper of Infomercial USA. If you have a story to share or thoughts on this episode, please call our hotline at 629-204-4264. Our email address is rtdrpod@gmail.com. I'm Andrew Gill.
And I'm Leah Payne. Remember, rock all you want, but watch it when you start to roll. Marauder. Okay. Ugh. That's going in the outtakes.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.